When Imelda Staunton was cast as Dolores Umbridge in Harry Potter and the Order of the Phoenix, David Yates gave her a subtle piece of direction that turned her from being simply an annoying teacher to the vicious, evil antagonist that J.K. Rowling had envisioned in the books.
Things at Hogwarts are far worse than I feared.
But there was a risk that Umbridge's twitchy voice and absurdly pink outfits could unintentionally turn the character comedic. So, David Yates told Staunton that Umbridge's motivation was essentially ethnic cleansing, and everything she did was from this political lens of a pure blood society, instantly turning the character into a serious threat. This gave Staunton a laser-focused direction that she fed all her performance choices through. But to truly make this work, the film needed a way to visually portray Umbridge's growing power and show that her stranglehold on Hogwarts was growing greater than even the most powerful teachers.
Cornelius will want to take immediate action.
David Yates cracked this problem with 2 sneaky tricks and 1 exceptionally well-written scene. Hey filmmakers, it's Ryan. Welcome to the Filmmaking Notebook, where I teach you filmmaking 1 scene, shot, and character at a time. In the Order of the Phoenix, the challenge was that Umbridge, the sneakily evil character, was purposefully designed to not look overly intimidating, with her short stature and perfectly manicured appearance. But Imelda Staunton said that David Yates was very keen on making Umbridge extremely real and disturbed. So, to visually show that this twitchy, mean little lady was gaining total control over Hogwarts, the filmmakers devised a brilliant scene, only 50 seconds long, only 7 lines, precisely designed to gut punch you into feeling how deeply Umbridge had taken over the school before she even began issuing her educational decrees. It's all part of David Yates' filmmaking methodology, where every single scene, every single moment is about how a character feels, about the emotional core of the scene and the character. So, Yates and screenwriter Michael Goldenberg used that framework to construct 7 lines designed to make you hate Umbridge even more than you already did, and they wrapped those 2 lines into 2 filmmaking techniques that turned the scene into a masterclass of precision storytelling, effectively tricking you into more deeply caring about how evil Umbridge is. And the thing that makes this scene feel so tight right off the bat is that it doesn't have a formal introduction. When McGonagall says,
I am merely requesting that when it comes to my students, you conform to the prescribed disciplinary practices.
we don't need to know any additional details because we already saw Umbridge torturing Harry. That previous scene gives us all the necessary context, and McGonagall's line is the only setup we need to launch directly into the confrontation.
So silly of me, but it sounds as if you're questioning my authority in my own classroom.
That little pause where Umbridge steps up and says,
Minerva.
is where the scene begins to play with next-level filmmaking techniques. We've now introduced blocking into the scene's subtext.
Minerva.
But why is blocking important? Blocking is how characters move through the scene and interact with each other and the environment around them. Blocking helps the audience subconsciously understand what the characters are really doing, what they're truly up to, and can help create specific beats within the scene. At its deepest level, blocking is one of the most subtle forms of subtext, and subtext is where there is more being said underneath what the characters are actually saying and doing. It's what's intentionally not being said, but still implied, that makes subtext so powerful because it lets our minds fill in the blanks. So, as Umbridge takes just a single step up the stairs, she is subtextually challenging the deputy headmistress's own power, which McGonagall immediately responds to with her own step up.
Not at all, Dolores. Merely your medieval methods.
But Umbridge meets those challenges by beginning each rebuttal with effectively playing dumb.
So silly of me, but it sounds as if you're questioning my authority in my own classroom. I am sorry, dear, but to question my practices is to question the ministry, and by extension, the minister himself.
Umbridge knows exactly what she's doing. It's her way of throwing McGonagall's challenges right back at her and baiting her to go on the defensive. At first, McGonagall doesn't take the bait, but then we cut to a reverse shot, signaling that something has changed.
I am a tolerant woman, but the one thing I will not stand for is disloyalty.
And McGonagall instantly stands down, physically and emotionally.
But the one thing I will not stand for is disloyalty.
Disloyalty.
She immediately understands the subtext behind Umbridge's words. Either you're completely on her side, or you're her enemy. And not only her enemy, but an enemy of the ministry. The deputy headmistress of Hogwarts has been defeated, and she knows it. And if there were any doubt, the blocking reinforces it. McGonagall, a tall, imposing, strict, stubborn, powerful wizard, has been overshadowed by an antagonist who may be physically shorter, but has won this round in the battle for Hogwarts' soul. But then we go one step further, as David Yates wanted you to understand at a deeply primal level how dire things were about to become.
Disloyalty.
Things at Hogwarts are far worse than I feared. Cornelius will want to take immediate action.
So David Yates once again used blocking to place Umbridge in a position where she would physically tower over one of Harry Potter's closest allies, subtextually telling us that the adults who should have had and want to have his back are now effectively powerless. And we don't need any additional context or explanation. The story immediately moves to the introduction of the educational decrees, giving practical power to Umbridge's words that we just heard. And this is the thing that ties all this together. Coming off the bombastic choices of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire,
Harry, you put your name in the Goblet of Fire.
The brilliance of the Order of the Phoenix comes from David Yates turning the crazy length of Book 5 into extremely precise moments that reflect character without making it feel like you're losing the essence of the book. Because we have to remember that when the film was released in 2007, there was some consternation about how much was cut out of the book. At the point of its release, it was the shortest Harry Potter film yet, from the longest book. But David Yates explained it this way. When you adapt these stories, you realize that they can tend towards the episodic, simply because you have all these lovely characters that are very character-driven, and you end up serving a lot of different stories. We wanted to feel we had one complete, unified, emotional story. That was our ambition. It's the abundance of tiny, intentional choices that compound upon each other that makes the film work, when it really shouldn't. And this scene isn't the only place David Yates made a tiny change that had an epic impact. He effectively changed the way that the characters use their wands, a risky move 5 movies into the series. This video breaks down how and why this wand change was made, but until next time, get offline and go create something epic.